Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I've got a spine-chilling tale that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. It's called Trapped in the Haunted Mansion. Aryan's chilling tale. Ready? Here we go. Chapter 1. The Old House. It was a stormy evening when Aryan, a curious 15-year-old boy, found himself standing in front of the old mansion at the edge of town. The house, abandoned for years, had always been the subject of many rumors. Some said it was haunted. Others claimed the last family that lived there had mysteriously vanished without a trace. Despite the warnings from his friends, Aryan had always been fascinated by the mansion. His friends had dared him many times to go inside, but fear always held him back. Today, however, he felt different. The wind howled fiercely and the rain poured down in sheets, yet something inside him urged him to enter the house. Maybe it was the adrenaline, or maybe the desire to prove himself, but whatever it was stronger than the fear that had held him back before. He pushed open the rusty gate, which creaked loudly as if protesting his intrusion. The mansion stood tall and dark in front of him, its windows like hollow eyes staring down at him. Aryan took a deep breath, ignoring the chill that ran down his spine, and stepped forward. Chapter 2. The Dark Corridor. As Aryan entered the house, a sense of unease washed over him. The air inside was cold and musty, filled with the scent of decay. The wooden floorboards creaked under his weight, echoing through the empty halls. Cobwebs hung from the ceilings, and dust covered every surface. The house felt like a place forgotten by time. He ventured deeper into the mansion, his footsteps slow and cautious. A strange feeling tugged at him, as if the house was watching him, waiting for him to make a mistake. He tried to shake off the feeling, telling himself it was just his imagination running wild. Suddenly he heard a faint noise, a soft whisper coming from somewhere deep within the house. It was barely audible, but it sent a jolt of fear through him. He stopped in his tracks, straining to hear. The whispering grew louder, more distinct. It sounded like voices, but they were low and unintelligible, like they were coming from the walls themselves. He swallowed hard and took another step forward. As he did, the floor beneath him seemed to groan in protest. But Aryan ignored it. He had to know what was making that noise. Chapter 3. The Hidden Room. The whispers seemed to guide him, leading him toward a narrow staircase at the end of the corridor. The stairs spiraled upward, disappearing into the darkness. Aryan hesitated for a moment, but his curiosity won over his fear. He climbed the stairs slowly, the old wood creaking beneath him with every step. At the top of the stairs, he found a door. It was old, with peeling paint and a rusted doorknob. The whispers were louder now, almost deafening. He reached out and grabbed the knob, twisting it slowly. The door opened with a long, groaning sound, revealing a small, dimly lit room. Inside there was a single chair in the center, and the walls were covered in strange symbols and markings. The air was thick with an eerie energy, and Aryan could feel his heart racing in his chest. The whispers were now accompanied by a soft scratching sound, like something was moving in the shadows. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind him, trapping him inside. Chapter 4. The Shadows. Aryan spun around, panic rising in his chest. He tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. The whispers grew louder, more frantic. It was as if the house itself was alive, feeding off his fear. Then he saw them, shadows moving across the walls, writhing and shifting like living things. They were dark and formless, but he could feel their eyes on him, watching him with an intensity that sent shivers down his spine. The shadows began to converge on him, slowly at first, then faster, until they were surrounding him, pressing in from all sides. Aryan backed away, but there was nowhere to go. His breath came in shallow gasps, and his heart pounded in his chest. The shadows were closing in on him, and he could feel their cold touch against his skin. "Help!" he screamed, but his voice was swallowed by the darkness. The whispers grew louder, almost deafening, and Aryan could swear he heard his own name being called from the shadows. Desperate, he reached out and tried to push the shadows away, but they were like smoke, slipping through his fingers. Just as he thought he couldn't take it anymore, the shadows suddenly stopped. Everything went silent. Chapter 5. The Escape. Aryan's heart was still racing, and he could feel the sweat dripping down his forehead. He looked around the room, but the shadows had vanished. The air was still thick with tension, but it was quiet now, unnervingly quiet. He turned back toward the door, his hand trembling as he reached for the handle. This time it opened easily. Aryan rushed out of the room, down the stairs and through the hallway, not stopping until he was outside. The storm had stopped and the wind had calmed, but the fear that gripped him lingered. As Aryan stood in the front yard of the mansion, gasping for breath, he turned to look back at the house. The windows seemed to glow faintly, as if something or someone was watching him from within. He never spoke of what happened that night, but from that day on, Aryan never set foot near the mansion again. And though he tried to forget, the whispers followed him, haunting him in the silence of his room, echoing in his mind. And sometimes, just as he was about to fall asleep, he would hear them again calling his name from the shadows. The end. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this tale, make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more spine-chilling stories. Until next time, stay safe and keep the lights on.